We're going to be working on this 2019 1LE Camaro. We're going to be running Speed Engineering 2-inch headers, the full mid-pipe kit, MBRP axle back. We're going to be running the Atomic MSD intake manifold, Nick Williams 103 throttle body, JLT intake. We're going to be running the flex fuel kit, and we have a catch can here, and that should be it. We're looking to make roughly between 475 and 500 on E. So let's get to it. I'm going to loosen everything from the top, remove everything that needs to be removed while the car is still sitting on the ground, and I'm going to work off jack stands and a jack. Typical backyard engineering here. Welcome to Saldala Performance. Got the intake off, sitting right here on the top of the truck. For anyone who cares, the inside of this runner is actually completely smooth, so it doesn't look like that. That's just the webbing on the outside. Don't forget the mass airflow sensor. Next, we're going to be removing this whole sound tube. Comes all the way to the back. Got the sound tube off. We're going to work on taking the covers off of the engine and moving this coolant reservoir out of the way. Alright, so far we've gotten the intake off, the sound tube off, we've gotten the covers off, and we just got the reservoir tank out. So sometimes people move them out of the way. I just found it easier just to, just disconnect it. It's the next day, and we're going to keep working on this Camaro. Let's get to it. Next thing we're going to do is remove that steering shaft on the driver's side. Before we do that, we're going to lift up this vehicle, and let's get this as high as we can. Got the car lifted, sitting on 4 jack stands. Extra support from that jack. Now the passenger side is probably going to require us to lift a little bit more, and when I'm ready to do so, I'll go ahead and just use the jack and get a couple extra inches and get the clearance I need, and then rest it back on the jack stands. Removed the 2 screws from the steering shaft, and while I was down there, I went ahead and unbolted the exhaust right after the primary cats and removed the center bracket, and then pulled everything off the hangers, and there's the full pipe. So wasted no time. Got the headers off. Well, got the steering shaft off, got the headers off. Header on this side out. There's the full exhaust right there on the floor. And wasn't easy, but got it done. So tomorrow the plan is to go ahead and install the new exhaust, and once the exhaust is installed, go ahead and do the MSD intake, the 103 throttle body, the flex fuel sensor, and the cold air intake, and just button everything back up, and we should be good to go. Alright, it's the next morning, and today we're going to try to get this exhaust on, get this intake manifold replaced, get that flex fuel sensor on, get that cold air intake in, and that JLT catch can on. Headers are on. What a pain in the ass. Driver's side, definitely more difficult for me than the passenger side for whatever reason. Just make sure you get this dipstick in while the headers are still loose. But more progress. Now I'm gonna get on to getting the whole exhaust on, get the skid plate back on, get the starter shroud back on, get the exhaust back on, drop the car on the ground so that I can do everything comfortably when the car is lowered. It's kind of a pain in the ass to work when the car is so damn high off the ground. Get back. All right, so we finally got the headers installed on both sides. I got the steering shaft back in. I got everything underneath the car buttoned up and lowered. Got the full exhaust in. I will say I'm not too happy with the clamps. So I know that I will be going to a muffler shop to see if they can hook me up with a better set of clamps or try to get this fitted a little bit better, but it's on there and it's good for now. Good enough to get tuned. It's not touching anything. But we're back on the ground, and now we're gonna go ahead and start protecting the harness that we have here that runs along the side. We also have a brake line that runs really close, and we're gonna go ahead and try to protect that with some of this gold heat wrap that we got on Amazon. Come with some metal zip ties. We're just trying to get it done and see how much progress we can make. All right. Goddamn Mustang. All right. Well, I went ahead and used heat wrap on these coolant lines. I also used it on. It's kind of hard to see. I used it on the harness that's down there. I used it on the brake line. See if I can give you some angle down here. Drop this 360 camera here so if you can see anything. Probably not. Nonetheless, that's done. Put the coolant reservoir tank back. Yeah, what's left to do is just go ahead and take that intake manifold off, put the new one on with the throttle body, do the flex fuel sensor, throw the cold air intake in, and I need to jack up the car again to go ahead and throw in those O2 sensors. Just couldn't find my oxygen sensor socket, so the progress, see if I can catch up on this maybe tomorrow or later today. Next morning, just a recap, we got all the heat wrap done on the harness, the brake line, some extra on that coolant line because I just felt some type of way. Added some more heat shield on that harness, ran it all the way to the back. Had a dream last night, got a little paranoid. Headers are on, steering shaft is on, coolant reservoir is on. We got the full exhaust piping on, as you can see. It'll give it a rattle to death. It'll be a nightmare to drive. This is when I wish I had a lift. Should make my neck hurt. All the way to the back. Like I mentioned before, definitely should get better clamps. These will do for now, but today we're going to go ahead and get this intake manifold installed. I went ahead and threw on the throttle body. I just kind of tightened some of the retaining bolts that keep the two pieces together. But I need to do final tightening, and that's about it. We're going to go ahead and start disassembling this intake manifold over here to pull this off and get right to it. Manifold out, and you can see how dirty those intake runners are, how they still have oil dripping. That's why a catch can is super important on these vehicles. Just a quick comparison of the two manifolds. You can definitely see that that throttle body is much bigger. So missed a lot of recording, but just didn't want to waste any time. Got the intake manifold on, got the intake on, got the flex fuel sensor on and wired up. It's already pinned into the ECU. Everything looks good. The only issue is that I'm having is that the throttle body that was sent to me has the wrong connectors for a LS engine. They're both 6 pins, so hopefully I can either get an adapter and figure that out, but I'm sure it'll be okay. So now I'm gonna fill up the coolant and try to get back into the car so I can connect the battery again. Back at it. Finally got the new Nick Williams 103 delivered by Summit with the right plug. So got that installed, got the spark plug cables in, got the valve cover covers on, and it's looking pretty clean. I added an additional ground here that goes from here all the way down to this other port here. Hopefully that helps with hot cranking situation that these cars seem to have. Apart from that, seems like everything's good to go. I want to give it a start. I want to hear what this car sounds like. So I have the trunk opened up. I'm going to connect this battery, and I'm going to set the tripod here, one behind the car and one, I guess, me trying to crank it up, and then we'll see how loud the car is. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, here's the camera. We're going to go ahead and hit record. Let's go ahead and get this battery connected. Alright, that's on. Close this trunk. Alright, let's go for it. So the car cranked up. It's loud as hell. Pretty much what I wanted, what I was expecting. We'll see how I feel a couple months down the road. Everything seemed good here. I didn't see any leaks where the fuel sensor is connected. Everything seemed fine. It didn't have a misfire, so I don't think I have, any issues with cracked spark plugs or anything like that. Everything seems to have worked well. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get this car tuned today or tomorrow, sometime soon. Driving to the tuner on this full bolt-on car, and there's no check engine lights. Surprisingly, I don't understand why, but just made it down to the tuner location, Z01. Car ran great. No check engine lights, no leaks. Everything was phenomenal. Alright, we're gonna wait for the tuner to get here, and then we'll get started. We're gonna do the 93 street tune, and then we're gonna switch over to E85.
We gotta do a couple times. Sometimes if they're jumping with the accelerator, it won't generate the data. You have to be kind of smooth and like fill up all the different areas.
Alright, well, the next day, and the car is tuned. Car's quick, it's fun, it's fast. I think the tuner did a great job. But right now, we're gonna get these mufflers put on right. You can see this one's kind of falling, so is that one over there. The two clamps where the Speed Engineering piping meets the MBRP mufflers are kind of weak, and they didn't seem to grab too good, so we're gonna go ahead and head to the muffler shop and see if they can get that fixed for us. And
I'm gonna do some 105.
Ese es un iPhone. Un iPhone de por allá de cámara.
Vamos, se nubló hasta esto, tuve que empezar a grabar de nuevo.